Good morning, everybody. Everybody doing all right? Okay, I'm not going to ask again because that's lame, but still, I'm glad you guys are doing okay. I am doing all right. Thank you so much for asking. So guys, today's chapel is going to be a little bit different from a lot of others we've done in the past, in the sense that instead of having a speaker today, we're going to have lots of speakers. We're going to have lots of students who are going to come and they're going to share testimonies, they're going to tell stories, because we really want to emphasize today that narratives are one of the most important things all of us get to experience, because God, I'd like to think that at the end of time, at the end of everything, God is going to be able to take us to the point where we can look back on everything that's ever happened in everyone's life ever. And he's going to be able to show us how all of the horrible, terrible things and how all of the great things all led to this beautiful ending. And how all of anything that ever happened was meaningful, no matter how meaningless or how belittling it may have seemed at the time. All of it had a purpose. And so that's what we really want to emphasize today. And we are going to have worship, and we're going to have our student speakers, and we're going to go ahead and get started with that now. So this first song we're going to do is a song called King of My Heart.
You're good. seated.
Good morning. My name is Evan McGrew. I am a junior here at Hardin-Simmons. I'm a biblical studies major with a business minor. And today I will be reading out of Philippians 1, starting in verse 12. Now I want you to know, brothers and sisters, that what has happened to me has actually served to advance the gospel. As a result, it has become clear throughout the whole palace guard and to everyone else that I am in chains for Christ. And because of my chains, most of the brothers and sisters have become confident in the Lord and declared all the more to proclaim the gospel without fear. Throughout this past year of my life, God has just reminded me time and time and time again that my bad situation does not change my good God, but that my good God can change my bad situation. And that's exactly what I see right here with Paul. Paul is in chains. He's in prison. But he's not letting his chains determine his life or determine his God or determine how he's going to live. He doesn't let his chains keep him captive there. He doesn't see it as I've done wrong and now I am in chains to this palace guard. But he sees it as an opportunity to spread the gospel with the prisoners who have to keep watch after him every single day. And that's exactly what God has been showing me, that what's going on in my life does not have to determine who my God is. What's going on in my life does not have to determine how good he is. And we just sung that song that he is good and he will always be good and he will never stop being good. He is just good. No matter what's going on in your life, no matter what has happened to you, no matter where you've been, no matter what people have said to you, no matter what person has done something wrong to you, he is still good. And he will always be good to you, no matter what's going on in your life. And I cannot stress that enough. And I just want to pray really quick. God, I pray you would continuously remind us that you are good, that you are not just great, because you are great, you are above all things, but you are also simply good to us. And you will always be good no matter what's happening in our lives, Father. And just continuously remind us of that, Father. We love you. We can never love you enough. We praise you. We can never praise you enough. In Jesus' name I pray.
All right. Good morning. My name is Lauren Mosier. I'm a sophomore. I'm majoring in strategic communications, and I'm from Houston, Texas. And let me just start by saying that God has really been pushing me out of my comfort zone lately. Hence why I'm up here right now. Public speaking is actually terrifying to me, and I'm shaking and sweating like a crazy person. But I truly believe that good things happen when you follow where he leads. So that's why I'm here. And today I'm going to be sharing a little piece of my testimony with y'all, if that's cool. And that piece of my testimony began the summer after my 6th grade year when I got to go to summer camp for the first time. And it was T-Bar M Camp, if anyone's familiar with that. And if you're not, all you need to know is that it's a Christian sports camp. So anyways, one night the camp counselors reenacted the crucifixion of Christ. And it was very realistic and therefore very emotional and very heavy. And so afterwards, they just encouraged everyone to disperse and go off and really pray and reflect on what we had just seen. And so it was dark outside. I was alone, didn't know the campground super well, and somehow ended up at the football field. And all of the stadium lights were off, and I wandered to the center of the field and lay down on my back and just looked up at the stars, and I lost it. And honestly, it was just the most beautiful thing that I have ever seen in my life. And I started crying because I could not fathom the fact that the same God who took the time to make every single one of the stars also took the time to make me. And just a little bit of background. At that point in time, I was being bullied in school, and there was just this group of girls who always had something hurtful to say, and the insult was always different, but it made me feel the same way, and that was just that it left me feeling very insignificant. But Genesis 1 talks about the creation story, and I know we're all super familiar with it, But something that I think tends to fly under the radar is this: that God spoke everything into existence except for us. He formed us with his own hands. The introduction of every aspect of nature begins with, "And God said, let there be light," and God said, until it gets to verse 27 when we come into the picture, and it states that God created man in his own image. In the image of God, he created him. Male and female, he created them. And I wanted to throw in Psalm 8, 3-9 as well. It says, "When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars which you have set in place, what is man that you are mindful of him, and the son of man that you care for him? Yet you have made him a little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned him with glory and honor. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth." And I think that sometimes it's easy to look up at the stars and recognize their beauty, but we so often fail to recognize the beauty in ourselves. And if any of y'all can relate to my story, and even if you can't, just know that God formed you and made you the person that you are. And you are significant, and you are loved, and you are valued immensely in his eyes. And so, not only that, you are exactly where he needs you to be in order to fulfill his purpose for this generation. So I hope that you guys can be encouraged by that truth today. So thank you.
We all
This next
stand
one
and
we're
worship with
doing
us again.
is No Longer Slaves. You unravel me with a melody. You surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies, till all my fears are gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God. From my mother's womb, you have chosen me. Your love has called my name. I've been born again to your family. Your love has called my pain. And I'm no longer a slave to fear. I'm no longer a slave to fear. I am a child of God.
Y'all may be seated.
Hi, I'm Sarah Patterson, and I'm a senior year, an English major, religion minor. And I just want to say Hardin-Simmons has been so good to me. One of the things that's been my favorite part of my time here is that I have felt extremely safe and extremely encouraged to ask questions of God and of who He is and why He does certain things in the Old Testament and what is going on in our current world. And that's been a really good thing for me. I think often we think that questions are bad. If we question God, if we question our faith, then we're less Christian, or we aren't worthy of being in the conversation or in the church. And my experience has been very different. I have felt that I've grown closer to God through my questions and have a deeper relationship with Him because I am learning more about who He is and why we are here. So I want to share a poem that I wrote last semester in my creative writing class that kind of depicts a typical conversation I've had with God in the last 3 years. And I just want to say that God welcomes our questions and meets us in that tension. And when I pray, some evenings I feel like 2 radio stations blaring all at once through a worn-down car. You know, I've never been good at multitasking. Honest, I want to fight the good fight. But then I question if fight is the best word. Because I know how grace feels. If I somehow stray from my 99 closest friends, you will leave them. Come to me smiling. Take my hand again. Thank you.
Good morning, HSU. I hope you're all having a lovely day so far. My name is Lauren Peace. I am a junior pre-med biology major from Cisco, Texas, and I'm also in the honors program, and I'm on the Spurs dance team. Go Cowboys. Yeah. Also, yes, I just read all of that off this piece of paper because sometimes I get nervous and forget who I am. So we were asked to share a little bit of our testimony this morning, or something that God has brought us through, and I wanted to be a little vulnerable with you guys, which seems to be I'm following in some good footsteps here. And it's a little daunting, so bear with me. But I wrote a letter. I kind of cheated. And this letter is sort of to myself and sort of to some of my friends, but my main hope is that God might allow for it to speak to some of you too. Dear depressed Christian, I want you to know that I see you. I see you. I know that you spend sleepless nights crying. I know about the days that pass meaninglessly by as everything important you're supposed to do remains undone. I know that you sometimes feel alone, overwhelmed, and afraid. I know that you stare at the ceiling for hours, praying, maybe pleading, my God, why have you forsaken me? I know that you get angry when well-meaning people console you with, don't worry, this too shall pass, because you wonder when, and you wonder how, and then you think that this better pass soon because you don't know how much longer you can keep pretending like everything is fine. I know all of this because I've been there too. But because of therapy, medication, and the selfless love of her God, professors, friends, and family, I am now someone who has made it through that dark tunnel to blindly stumble into the light. So, if you're a fellow depressed lover of Jesus, I want you to know that I see you and that it's okay. There's a place for you here. Your worries, your doubts, your fears, and your tears will never be a burden to me or to God. You are loved effortlessly and in entirety. Although you might be stuck in this darkness for a while, I can tell you that life is still worth living and hope is still to be found. If you've been waiting for a sign to get help, let this be it. Let me help you find peace. Let me help you find comfort. And let me walk with you toward our God, who promises that you will one day experience joy that matches this pain. With love, from Lauren.
My name is Chris Miller from San Marcos, Texas. I'm a business administration major with a minor in economics, and this is my last semester in school. I just want to apologize if whatever I say makes y'all feel uneasy today. To quote one of my favorite artists, J. Cole, "What's done in the dark will always find a way to shine. I done did so much that when you see, you might go blind." Or in Luke 8, verse 17, "For nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed, nor is anything secret that will not become known and come to light." I have become a master of bearing my darkness to where no one would ever know. I have scars and tattoos that represent pain in my life, most of which was self-inflicted pain. Self-inflicted pain is the hardest to forgive. I don't mean God forgiving, but I mean me forgiving myself. My self-destruction came when I had a self-perceived standard of perfection that I realized was unattainable. I was in a constant state of criticism of myself, but looking back, I was letting Satan rule and control my mind. The only way to get it to stop was through drugs, alcohol, and meaningless relationships. In numbing my pain, it led to a feeling of worthlessness, depression, anxiety, and suicidal thoughts. I have felt this way the majority of my time at Hardin-Simmons. I chose to go through this alone and confide in no one. Throughout this whole period, my biggest obstacle was finding it in me to forgive myself. I never thought I was worthy of God's love, but that is because I never chose to receive God's love. I always believed I was so far from Him that I could never reach Him, but all I had to do was turn around, and there He was standing right behind me with arms wide open. I have forgiven myself and let my darkness shine. I hope you're not blind.
This next song is Jesus Paid It All. I hear the Savior say, "Thy strength is small, child of weakness, watching me, find in me thine all in all." Jesus paid it all to Him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, He washed it white as snow. Jesus paid it all to Him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, He washed it white as snow.
Jesus died my soul to save. My lips shall still repeat, Jesus paid it all to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow.
Praise the one who paid my debt and raised this life up from the dead. Oh, praise the one who paid my debt and raised this life up from the dead. Oh, praise the one who paid my debt and raised this life up from the dead. Oh, praise the one who paid my debt and raised this life up from the dead. All to him I owe. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow. Sin had left a crimson stain, he washed it white as snow.
Amen. Y'all can be seated.
Can y'all hear me okay? Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm Zane Zabronic. I'm a sophomore here, and I play basketball here at Hardin-Simmons. And I'm proudly from a really small town in southeast Texas called Devers. And before I tell this story, I want to start with a scripture from 1 Peter, and it's verse 6 through 8. So be truly glad, there's wonderful joy ahead. Even though you must endure many trials for a little while, these trials will show you that your faith is genuine. It is being tested as fire tests and purifies gold, though your faith is far more precious than mere gold. So when your faith remains strong through many trials, it will bring you much praise and glory and honor on the day when Jesus Christ is revealed to the whole world. You love him even though you have never seen him. Though you do not see him now, you trust him. And I'll explain what that means throughout the story. But for 3 years of my life, I was very, very depressed. But unlike most people, my adversity was all internal. I had every reason to be happy. My parents are 100% soulmates. I had a nice house to come home to, food. I had my own car. I was on the basketball team at school. But I was still depressed really, really bad. And I came home every day, and my mom would ask me, like, what's wrong? What's wrong? Like, why? You have every reason to be happy. Why are you sad? I couldn't tell her anything. I go to school, and, like, I let all the people that were around me and not people that were with me really have an effect on me. And people would tell me I deserved it. And again, it's all people that didn't know me. I just didn't understand it. I hated people. I hated everyone. And I feel like I had no escape. Basketball wasn't even my escape either. I came home one night, and I had a conversation with my dad, and he told me I hate how you treat people. Now, my dad is a family law lawyer in southeast Texas. He has seen the most negative situations, and he's around the most negative people you can possibly think of every day. But yet he comes home, he's happy, he's smiling. He always makes my mom and me laugh no matter what. And, like, he tells me, like, I love people no matter what they do to me because I know what's relevant in my life. And that really changed me because it made me think about and focus on the people that matter. And it made me realize, it sounds harsh, but a lot of people in your life are really irrelevant. Like, it sounds so much easier than it is, but if you don't let something bother you, how could it possibly bother you? And that's a lot harder with like real adversity, like what Chris said. Like, I feel you. I've never been in that type of situation, and I don't know what led to you doing that to yourself. But on the inside, I feel you. Like, I know what that, being that darkness, I feel you. But after having that conversation with my dad, I started focusing on what was relevant, the small circle of friends around me, and I was happy. I'm happy now. My favorite thing in this whole world is being happy because we take it for granted every day. As soon as we're sad, we get down, we pray, God, like I want to be back to that happiness. I want to be back to that level in my life. But when we're happy, we don't appreciate it. We don't understand how amazing being happy is. And now, like, nothing affects me. My happiness and confidence rubs people the wrong way sometimes, and that's okay. Like, more times than not, it's because they can't relate to it, and then, again, that's all right. But nothing bothers me. Nothing affects me, because at the end of the day, I'm happy. And it's not from a person. It's not from anybody else. It's in me. I chose to let it out. And realizing that, I'm here today. And going back to 1 Peter, all pain is not without purpose. The pain is, don't leave it to randomness, like, oh, it's just bad luck. No, God's testing your faith. All this pain is for a purpose. I was depressed for 3 years of my life, and I was in high school. Like, that's not even real stress. Like, y'all know, college is stress. And then we're gonna be adults, and that's real stress. So, 3 years of my life, I was in pain, and in my senior year, girls, guys, they realized I was happy, and they said, Zane, like, help me reach how you are, like, nothing bothers you. So again, I'm thankful for that pain. Here I am speaking to all of you, and I never thought I'd be in this position. My parents definitely didn't. I remember coming home the day I got my permit. I was happy, like any kid should be, and something set me off, and I was sad. And my mom looked me in the eyes, and I remember the face so clearly. She said, well, at least you were happy for a little while. And I refuse to ever go back to that mindset. I'm happy no matter what. Like, I have a really good understanding of how short life can be. I've lost a lot of people in my life, and you never know when it's going to be. So you might as well die happy than die sad. But I'll finish with this, and I'll be done. It was unexpected, it was all at once, but at the same time, it wasn't at all. I was unaware of the signs, as was my family. They slipped by unnoticed. I had every reason to be happy. I come home to both of my parents. I come home to a variety of food. I come home to a basketball. I come home to a pool. Still, the darkness loomed and loomed and loomed until it was all that I was. At first, the battles were monthly. Soon they became weekly, then daily. I hated everyone. I hated all interaction. I hated being reminded every day that you have every reason to be happy, Zane. I knew this to be true, and it angered me even more. I can't be happy. I can't be happy. And I had no idea why. I was in quicksand. The more I fought, the more I was consumed. I come home to my dogs. I come home to my car. I come home to my own room. I come home to my closet filled with closets and clothes and shoes. Unlike most, my escape was not harmful. No drugs or self-harm, no fasting or gorging. And it sounds really ignorant, but it's true. It was sleeping. There's no interaction, no thoughts, no feelings, and no emotion. In a world of blessings, sleep was my happiness. I come home to my land. I come home to my loving mother. I come home to my providing father. I am able to come home. Like darkness, light can come all at once. Even the smallest flame, no matter how it is sparked, can be used to light an entire world. My spark was nothing more than a conversation mixed with the realization that no one has any effect or hold on my happiness. I come home, I come home, I come home. Light brightens as far as it can reach. My light has sparked so many others. I'm thankful for my darkness. How was your day, Zane? My day was amazing. Every day is amazing.
Hello, I am Matia, and I am a sophomore. I'm, sorry, excuse me. I'm from Africa, yay, all the way, yeah! And I'm from a small country called Rwanda. It's like Eastern and Central Africa, yeah. Yeah, in Wakanda, they zoomed out of, like Rwanda, so it's okay. Yeah, I am going to be singing a song called Storyteller by Morgan Harper. If y'all know Jamie Grace, that's Jamie Grace's sister. And it's pretty much just talking about, like, I've seen God throughout my life. I didn't have a turning point where I was like, I turned and I was like, oh my God, now I get to know God. It was more of like just God growing me to be the person that he wants me to be. And whenever I look back, the first thing that I always that I was just thinking about was how he changed me. I was the kind of person who was like easily angered. Like my siblings would always say I have anger management issues, but I did. But like small things was just, take me off, and I would just move from zero, and I take it all the way up to 100. And I just remember one day my brother was like, I was playing with my sister, and my brother came and he was messing with us, and I told him twice to stop, and he refused. And he's older than me, and he was stronger. He's 2 years older than me, and I was like 6. And then I pushed him, and he went and hit himself through like the window, and it broke. And he has like a scar right here and like another one here. It would have been really bad. So like after that, I got so scared. My mom didn't do anything to me, nor my dad, but like, yeah, it was really bad. And so that's not just it that happened. And now I look back, and a friend recently was like, oh my God, Macha, like, why are you always so happy? Like, how are you always joyful? And I'm like, I honestly don't know how I do that. That's just me. God has changed me. And it honestly takes you so much more to it takes so much more to make me angry and like get me mad to the point where I could do something, act out of anger. So, yeah. On a Sunday evening, I'm looking back over all the years and where I've been, looking at old photographs. I'm remembering you were right there, and you have been ever since. With every page I turn, I see your faithfulness. Oh, oh, the mountain where I climbed, the valley where I fell, you were there all along. That's the story I'll tell. You brought the pieces together, made me the storyteller. Now I know it is well, it is well. That's the story I'll tell. There were some nights I felt like they will last forever, but you kept me breathing. You were with me right there, and all you have done for me, I could never hold it in. So here's to me telling this story over and over again. Ooh, the mountain where I climbed, the valley where I fell, you were there all along. That's the story I'll tell. You brought the pieces together, made me the storyteller. Now I know it is well, it is well. That's the story I'll tell. You hold the broken, you hear my every cry, every cry. And my arms are open, I know that it is well, it is well. Ooh, I know it is well, it is well. That's the story I'll tell. That's the story I'll tell.
Chapel's, yeah, good. Awesome, girl, awesome. You guys love chapel that much, I don't want to go to class? Get out of here. See you guys.